Shalom Aleichem, Na'aleh viewers. We're continuing in Maseches Brachos. Today's shiur is dedicated to Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Reb Chaim Tzvi. We're in the Gemara in Daf Yud Gimel Amud Beis, second parak of Maseches Brachos, parak Koyrei. We're going to pick up from the Gemara in the middle of the Amud, the first of the wide lines on Daf Yud Gimel Amud Beis. Says the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan, we learn in the Brisa, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. It says in the Pasuk, Shema Yisrael, hear, understand, hear, O Israel, understand, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem is our God, Hashem Echad, Hashem is one. Ad kan sricha kavanas alev, divrei Meir. Meir says that from this Pasuk we learn out that the requirement of kavana, of having proper intentions, is till this point of the Kriya Shema. So we have, at this point in the Gemara, a three-way machlokes. The Gemara quoted a brisa, it's machlokes between Reb Lezer and Reb Akiva. Reb Lezer says, we learn out from the Pasuk, that the requirement of kavana is only in the first two psukim of Kriya Shema, the pasuk of Shema Yisrael and V'ahavta, which, as Tosfos pointed out, Daf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, those two psukim contain the central ideas of Kriya Shema, of Kabbalah Sal Malchus Shemayim, of accepting the Yichud Hashem, the unity of God, and in the second pasuk of expressing and affirming the idea of Avas Hashem, to the point of giving up one's life for the sake of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for Avos Hashem. But the rest of Shema does not require a special kavana, a special halacha of kavana. The second opinion quoted in the Gemara is the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbi Akiva says that the entire first parsha, the first paragraph of Shema, requires kavana. Now the Gemara quotes a third opinion, the opinion of Rav Meir, that only the first pasuk of Kriya Shema requires kavana. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, that's the only pasuk of Shema that requires kavana. Says the Gemara, Omar Rava, Halacha K'Reb Meir. Rava says that we paskin that the halacha is like Reb Meir, that only the first pasuk of Kriya Shema requires kavana. Now, as we pointed out in earlier shiurim, Rav Soloveitchik was medayik that why didn't the Gemara ask the question that it asks on our Mishnah, Shema Mino Mitzvahs Tzrichas Kavana, from this brisa or from these brisos? We have here a discussion in the brisos that there's a requirement of Kavana by Kriya Shema. So the Gemara should have l'chora been medayik. The Gemara should have inferred and raised the question that we can perhaps infer from this halacha that in general mitzvahs require kavana in order to perform the mitzvah. Why does the Gemara only raise that discussion on the diuk from the Mishnah, that the Mishnah says Haya Kair B'Torah im niskavein im kivein libo yotza, if he has kavana he fulfills his obligation, implying that there's a requirement of having proper intentions? The Mishnah should have inferred that there's a requirement of kavana from these brises. The Gemara should have raised the diuk that from these brisos you see there's a halacha of kavana. So if Soloveitchik explained, in the Rishonim really we see this idea that there's two different halachas of kavana, there are two different notions of kavana. There's the notion of kavana l'shem mitzvah, of kavana lotzes, that I'm doing this for the purpose of performing a mitzvah, and that's perhaps a requirement that's necessary in order to fulfill the performance of the mitzvah properly. To perform the mitzvah properly, one has to have intention that one is doing a mitzvah, one's engaged in a mitzvah. That's the sugya that we have in the beginning of this Gemara, in the beginning of the parak, and in Maseches Rosh Hashanah, regarding the issue of mitzvahs tzrichas kavana or mitzvahs ein tzrichas kavana. Is there a requirement of having kavana l'shem mitzvah when one is engaged in the performance of a mitzvah in order to fulfill that mitzvah? But then there's another halacha of kavana, what the Rashba calls kavana sa'inyan, this kavana of understanding the meaning of the words. I'm concentrating on the meaning of the words of what one is saying. So says Rav Soloveitchik, that this halacha of kavana so'inyan, that relates to understanding the meaning of the words, that's the kavana that we're dealing with over here in these braisos, and the machloikis between the different tanoim, the three braises, is to what extent is there a halacha of kavana so'inyan, that one has to have kavana and have intention, have in mind, and concentrate on the meaning of what one is saying. Is that a halacha that only relates to the first two psukim of Kriya Shema, to the first paragraph of Shema, or is it limited, as Rav Meir says, only to the first pasuk, because that's the pasuk with which we express the fundamental idea of Kabbalah's O Malchus Shamayim. The Gemara continues now and brings in sort of a tangential